everybody. I'd like to introduce Ivan Stein with Evriholder and Stephen Koch with Kainos Capital. E78 was brought in by Kainos in late 2023 to help with two integrations for the Evriholder platform. Stephen, questions for you. Maybe detail Kainos' general approach and focus areas for value creation and add-ons and kind of your the importance of integration and finding partners to help you.
Yeah, I'll just do a little overview of the firm first. So Kainos Capital is we're an investment firm focused on the investment behind strong management teams within the consumer industry. We have completed over 40 transactions with a total transaction value of $6 billion. We've been investing for a dozen years, and the partnership has been together really for over 30. We're primarily investing in founder-owned or founder-led businesses. So Ivan will talk a little bit about, his the beginnings of Evriholder many years ago. And we pride ourselves at Kainos on recognizing and embracing the culture that founders work hard to instill in their businesses, and believe that culture is a strategic part of why they win in the marketplace. Our partnership with Evriholder started in 2023, as Scott mentioned, and it fits perfectly within the criteria and consumer dynamics that we look to invest behind. So now on to your question. We pride ourselves as a firm in bringing more than just capital when partnering with management teams. Our goal is to create value in partnership with management through a couple of ways. One is providing strategic direction, again, in alignment with our management teams, accelerating growth by leveraging an industry network that our team has developed over the last 30 years, and supporting the execution of profit enhancement projects with our dedicated ops team. So we have an in-house operations team that provides guidance and advice to our partner companies and management teams, spanning a variety of different topics like automation, operational efficiency, finance, IT integrations, procurement, HR, and recruiting. And this team works with our management teams to drive scalable growth. As experienced investors in the consumer industry, like I mentioned, we've developed a network spanning suppliers, distributors, retailers, that we look to leverage that can be helpful to our management team in accelerating growth. And we believe our dedicated industry focus allows us to enter new partnerships with a fairly robust strategy map for growth, and that can include M&A, like in the case of Evriholder, where a company has the market opportunity, the aptitude, and the experience to ensure successful execution. Ivan and the team successfully integrated a business prior to our partnership, and that led to a lot of best practices for the two acquisitions that the E78 team helped us integrate earlier this year.
Thanks, Stephen. I can't remember how we got connected, but I know we've had a couple of discussions with you and Claire and perhaps some others. I guess what was in terms of how you were looking at an integration service partner. At the time, I think we first talked, we were GPMIP, and now, of course, E78 went through the transition with you. But I guess what was it that, kind of you settled on as far as this makes sense for Ivan and Evriholder?
Yeah, well, generally speaking, I would say as we evaluate as a firm, service providers and partners and whatever it may be, we typically have a pretty rifle shot approach, and that's a derivative of our focus on the consumer industry. And so when we are evaluating service providers, it's really for a specific skill set and or a perspective that we require for whatever we're looking to achieve. So that can include consumer-specific projects, whether it's consumer panel data, like attitude and usage studies, or it can be skill set-specific projects, like an ERP implementation, or M&A integration. And so a big part of that selection process is, tapping into the network that we've developed to identify service providers that are kind of tried and true with people that we know and trust. And so the introduction to you, Scott, and your firm really came through an executive that is within the portfolio that actually used E78 in their own integration at another company. And so, as we were evaluating service providers, we spoke with him, and you guys came very highly recommended. And, obviously we evaluated a couple of other firms and ultimately decided based off of that recommendation that E78 was the right partner for us. Obviously, Ivan and the team also spoke with you all and a couple of others, and they agreed.
Great, thank you. Well, why don't we talk a little bit about Project Impulse, which was the code name at the time for the integrations I mentioned earlier. And I'll open it up with a couple questions about the overall effort and scope and deliverables. But as you looked at it, as you guys were on the front end of that, what was your thinking around kind of biggest challenges and areas of concern with the overall integrations, both of them?
I'll start, and Ivan, obviously, feel free to chime in. I mean, I think one of the biggest concerns for us and the team with the integrations was really the simple fact that we were acquiring two businesses essentially simultaneously, and the management team only has so much bandwidth to manage the business and integration at the same time. And so ensuring that we were staying organized and everything was getting done, that really required more resources than the Evriholder management team could spare while they were continuing to do their day job. So that was an area of concern that we obviously engaged E78 to help to rectify. So.
Yeah, just to add to that, I mean, obviously the fact that we were doing two acquisitions or transactions at the same time, it really heightened the need for more resources. But on top of that, I would say that even though we had successfully completed an acquisition a couple of years prior to working with Kainos, and had a lot of experience in that regard, even if we were doing just one acquisition, I still think the engagement would have been invaluable for the team. And that's simply because of the holistic plan that we worked with through E78. Just having that holistic plan on the integration of the acquisition was really, really important to us. And I think first and foremost, just having a detailed written plan right through different functions of the business, be it finance, be it cross-selling, making sure that we get savings through cost of goods sold, having those detailed plans that include timing, in the short, medium, and long term, really helped focus the team. And I think what was really important as well is that equal weight was given to a communication plan, because often that part of the acquisition is neglected. And as we all know, people generally are resistant to change. And when one company acquires another company, a lot of change occurs. And so it's really important to communicate to the different stakeholders, both internal and external, about what our plans are. And so just having that detailed plan, as well as including a communication plan and doing it well ahead of time, was really important to putting us on a path to success.
Yeah, I was really impressed. First of all, you trusted the process. I mean, we went through it with you before we launched it, and you were bought in and kind of transmitted that down, which made our work easier in some respect. But also clarity on the priorities that we hammered out early on, the value drivers and objectives, and the commercial and other operational things that you helped us, we worked together to get right, really kind of set the tone for the robustness of the plans that followed. They were drafting off the right things. And then clarity for the team members, both existing and folks that folded in, understanding, hey, this is what we're after. This is the stuff that has to get done. So I think, I was really impressed. Sometimes we're, working upstream for the initial, few weeks as people get to kind of buy into the process, but you were bought in right away and it made a huge difference.
I think that's right. I mean, I think our initial experience with our acquisition that we did in 2021 was so successful and put the company on a different growth trajectory. So that was really important to us. So people had experienced, seen what an acquisition could do, and that really, helped people buy into, what these two acquisitions could do for the company going forward. But even though we'd had the experience and we'd been successful with a prior acquisition, I think it was really important, to have detailed written plans, which we hadn't done in our prior acquisition. So having those detailed written plans was really important to the success. And then what I also personally appreciated was the measurement tools that the E78 team gave us, so that we could measure success, every week in the different areas that we were trying to achieve success. I mean, that was really, and still is really important to our to the success of the overall acquisitions. It's one thing to lay down plans, but it's another thing to execute those plans, and having a tool that enables you to measure it in a very detailed, granular way on a weekly basis really keeps everybody really focused. And as the CEO, it really helps me identify areas where we need to pay some extra attention.
How about maybe just the E78 team, the comm and integration lead that you worked with? Any thoughts on those folks?
They were very effective in the sense that they understood their role in the process. So they really respected the different operators and the expertise of the operators, and the fact that we had a plan and we knew what we wanted to achieve. So their role was really to help us execute on that plan. So forcing us to write down the plans in a very detailed way, giving priority to timing, short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals. I think that really helped as well. And then especially around the communication, just enabling us to communicate with different stakeholders, but also doing it in our voices, is so that when the communications came across, it didn't sound like somebody else or a consultant had written the communication or had overtly influenced what we were saying. Everything came across in our voices, which I think was really important to the overall success. I would also say that when as CEOs, when we acquire companies, we don't do that every day, and so we've hopefully done a couple in our career. But the E78 people do it, for a living. They do it every day, and they have a lot of experience. And I was very grateful for the E78 team to be very available for any unexpected issues that did come up, and I got a lot of advice on some high-level issues for unexpected occurrences that did occur. So I would say that we can lay plans as detailed as possible, but in the real world, unexpected things do occur. And so getting that advice and having the E78 team very available to discuss unexpected occurrences in real time really did help us.
Thank you. Stephen, from Kainos' perspective, I know you guys, once we got started, we used to copy you on lots of reporting and plan output, but as far as kind of the monitoring aspect of that, was that helpful just to kind of keep tabs on what's going on with the integration?
Absolutely. I mean, I'll be somewhat repetitive, but similar to Ivan in terms of managing the detailed work streams by function and understanding who is accountable and where things may be slipping and require additional attention or resource from the team. Having that in partnership with Ivan is obviously was critical to making sure that everything was staying on track.
Great. Well, given a lot of good stuff here, let me kind of maybe wrap up with a few other questions from our outline here. And I think we've hit on some of these. So, but at the end of the day, Ivan, where do you think the E78 team delivered the most value, or kind of met or exceeded your expectations for what you were looking for?
I think it was in terms of the holistic approach. As I said, the area of communication, which is often overlooked. I think often these acquisitions succeed or fail on the basis of the way we communicate our plan with the different stakeholders. And so having that plan, having that communication plan well ahead of time, prepared well ahead of time, really helped us really clarify how we needed to communicate with the different stakeholders, be it our employees, the target company's employees, or our customers and vendors, in overseas in China. So that's where I really think we gained a lot of value, as well as having everything in a very detailed form in writing, where it was very clear to everybody on our side, what our priorities were, and what we needed to do to achieve these plans. And then finally, being able to measure it. I didn't really understand how robust the E78 measurement tools are, but just being able to see that dashboard every week, and just see what percentage of the plan we had successfully obtained in that particular week, and how we were doing relative to our expectations. That really did help us. And then we were able to see it by function and by work stream, which really helped. So just the whole holistic nature of the plan is what really impressed me a lot.
Yeah, if you had to do it again or had to recommend an integration service provider, what would you do?
Absolutely, I would, because I would say that acquiring businesses is a key step for many of us as we strive to create value for our shareholders. And we invest just a ton of time and resources into these acquisitions, and so going the extra mile to ensure success is really important. And while even some of us who have done it before and think we understand the playbook, already, while we think it might not be necessary to get in extra resources to help us, achieve our goals, I think hiring E78 it was really important to achieving those goals, and having the extra rigor, having the holistic plans, being able to make sure that everybody understands their role and has a plan set forth in front of them is really important. And then again, being able to measure it and having those robust tools that enable us to check in every week to ensure that we're on track was very important. So yeah, the investment is huge when you buy a company, and hiring E78 is just one of the things that really helps ensure success at the end of the day.